Everyone had no idea what was going to occur. The crew, Rasheeda, and the cast did not take part. Rasheeda was moved to tears by Kirk Frost's intense outburst, which was captured on film and stunned everyone. One of the most startling incidents in the history of love and hip-hop is today regarded as such. On social media, the video has already gone viral despite only being uploaded a few hours ago. Production companies are rushing to handle the aftermath as fans are demanding answers. But the harm might already be done. The day on the set was meant to be routine, but it took a turn for the worse. An additional instant with the long-term pair, then, without warning, something broke. After accusations were made and opinions expressed, the internet abruptly blew up. Since Kirk abruptly lunged for Rasheeda in a way that no one had expected, not from the man she had long supported. Viewers are now left wondering what actually transpired off camera. Does this explosion foretell something more serious and profound, or was it an isolated incident? Despite not publicly expressing her emotions, Rasheeda's close friends and family stated she is upset and done. Alternatively, VH1 sources say that this incident might damage Kirk's reputation and put the company as a whole in jeopardy. Don't move. We're going to reveal something that will surprise you. As usual, the Love and Hip Hop show was a flurry of barely controlled pandemonium that took place under the bright studio lights. The last touches were being applied by makeup artists, assistants running around, and cameras. As if facing a tempest, Kirk came into the room with a taut jaw and a stiff visage. Then Rasheeda sat down. The crew could smell the obvious coldness between them as she side-scrolled through her phone, trying to look calm, but everyone who knew her could see the emotional tension beneath the surface. There was something wrong, and it was about to break. No one in the crowd knew that Kirk had swiped into Rasheeda's phone just before the shoot began. Neither explicit nor controversial. They were personal texts. She was telling a buddy about Kirk's latest betrayal. He found the phrase, "I don't know how long I can maintain the illusion that our marriage is going well," to be powerful. He was seething inside, but instead of going straight to her, he waited for the cameras to roll on the set. They intended to discuss their son's academic status in an open manner. The director's demands, however, caused Kirk to lose his temper and go on a verbal rampage. "So these are your true feelings?" Smiling while speaking behind my back on camera? His voice was sharp but quiet. Rasheeda gazed up, bewildered and emotional. She said, "What are you even saying?" In a shaky voice. "Your terse messages, I have read them all." Kirk shouted and moved toward her. The teen halted, unsure if the scenario was still being set or if something had suddenly become real and alarming. Was everyone watching this relationship fall apart, or was it an intense performance? The weight felt oppressive. It was a heavy place. When the silence hit, Rasheeda's eyes widened. "You actually got into my phone?" Kirk shot back. "You aren't being sincere, Kirk. While making light of me behind my back, you have been smiling at me." It was Rasheeda who shouted out, "I'm tired of the lies." The director then told Kirk to pause the sequence and cut, but Kirk disregarded his orders. Now that he couldn't be called back, he was very emotional. Rasheeda got up, her eyes watering, and she muttered, "Kirk, I needed to let it out. I've lost my self-control. You're always hiding things and never present. It makes me feel like I'm drowning when I'm deceived." These kinds of remarks drove Kirk over the edge. His hand was raised. Everyone was taken aback by the subsequent events. There was a frightening moment when his palm made contact with Rasheeda's face and time seemed to halt. It was a moment that echoed through the studio like a shot. Panic broke out among everyone. A clipboard hit the ground. Incredulous, Rasheeda froze. She looked away. One hand touched the cheek, then gently rose to it. There had been a beat of silence before the mayhem began. Members of the crew dashed inside. As security arrived, the assistant director yelled at them. A sound technician rushed to Rasheeda's aid so she could depart. Though it was too late, Kirk didn't seem to comprehend what he had just done. He stood motionless, his eyes widening and his chest heaving. The camera continued to pan, because nobody had stopped, accidentally. It had been shot from multiple perspectives. Recently, a long-standing cast member of the program, Kirk Frost, was caught on tape being physically aggressive toward his wife on the set. From the studio, word spread quickly, considering that one crew member had previously sent a friend a message. A terrible thing happened recently. It was that one message that set the fire when Kirk struck Rasheeda on video. Upon witnessing Rasheeda being led to her dressing room, her name swiftly gained widespread recognition on social media, leaving spectators stunned. These tales continued to come in, but hardly any people wanted to believe them. Multiple versions of the same narrative are not portraying Kirk in a positive light. Sitting quietly in her dressing room was Rasheeda. She was heavily covered with makeup. Even though her cheeks were flushed, she refrained from crying. No more. Describe what tears had stopped streaming. There was only shock and sadness and a weird relief, as if something buried had finally risen. She said to her hairdresser, "He hit me." He really did it. The producers at her door were completely frightened in front of everyone. Before the video went viral, some wanted to stop production completely, while others wanted to make a statement. But it was too late. Everything was clearly captured by the studio cameras, but someone on the scene had already recorded it all on a phone. High definition and clear. At first, while Kirk was already outside the building, the unsteady vertical cell phone footage went viral online. There was no explanation or apology. The body was stiff and tense, the face lifeless. Kirk said nothing in front of his management and staff. He simply got into his car and drove away. It was by the next morning that the first video was posted online. The footage of Kirk Frost striking Rasheeda was wobbly and low resolution, but it was still there. They reacted quickly and firmly. The phone rang constantly for hours, even with the possibility that his contract might be terminated. Celebrities started speaking out. No justification, no apology, just unacceptable, is the tweet that the rapper posted. The piece titled, "I grew up watching them." According to a well-known R&B performer, "This hurts, I'm sick over it." Similarly, unable to remain silent, the show's executive producer, Mona Scott, released a brief but direct comment. "Violence is not acceptable in our work. Important choices are being made." Rumors started to circulate. Kirk was placed on indefinite leave. One possibility is that VH1 will decide to stop airing for the season. Rasheeda remained silent in spite of the chaos. However, she only stayed quiet for a few hours when she uploaded a single photograph to Instagram, a solid black screen with no tags or captions, and her admirers showered her with supportive and affectionate comments. "We adore you. Leave him. You deserve better." The support was tremendous, as was the pressure. People encouraged her to be honest and speak up. The public was unaware of the internal conflict that was growing inside her. Shame, devastation, anger, and uncertainty. She didn't know what to do: choose to leave the marriage permanently, to file charges, or to remain in it.